In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. After bringing forth light, land, oceans, and every kind of living creature, God's masterpiece came when he created humanity. From the dust of the ground, God formed the first man, Adam, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, making him a living being. Genesis 2:7. Unlike all other parts of creation, Adam was created in the image of God, reflecting God's own nature and design. God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden, a perfect paradise filled with beautiful trees, rivers, and animals of every kind. This garden was lush and abundant, designed to meet Adam's every need. God tasked him with caring for the garden and also gave him the unique privilege of naming every animal, establishing his authority over creation. Despite the beauty and bounty of Eden, God recognized that something was missing. In Genesis 2:18, God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." God saw that Adam needed companionship, a partner who would share in his responsibilities, his joys, and his life. To create this companion, God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. As Adam slept, God took one of his ribs and from it formed a woman, Eve. When Adam awoke and saw her, he was overjoyed and declared, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." Genesis 2:23. In that moment, Adam and Eve became the first marriage, a union created and blessed by God himself. They were both naked, and they felt no shame, living in perfect harmony with God, each other, and the world around them. God granted Adam and Eve great freedom in the Garden of Eden. They could eat from any tree, enjoy all its fruits, and experience the beauty of creation. But there was one command that God gave them. They were not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God said, "You must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die." Genesis 2:17. This command was a test of their trust in God and a reminder that true freedom involves choices and boundaries. For a time, Adam and Eve enjoyed paradise without sin, pain, or suffering. But one day, everything changed. A serpent, described in Genesis 3 as more crafty than any of the wild animals, approached Eve. This serpent, which was Satan in disguise, sought to deceive her. He questioned God's command, asking, "Did God really say, 'You must not eat from any tree in the garden'?" Genesis 3:1. By challenging God's words, the serpent planted doubt in Eve's heart and mind. The serpent went further, contradicting God's warning by saying, "You will not certainly die. For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Genesis 3:4-5. Eve saw that the fruit of the forbidden tree was pleasing to the eye and desirable for gaining wisdom. In that moment, she chose to trust the serpent's words over God's command. She took some of the fruit and ate it. She also gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate it as well. Genesis 3:6. In that instant, their eyes were opened, and they realized they were naked. For the first time, they felt shame, guilt, and fear. They sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves and hid from God among the trees of the garden. When God came to walk in the garden, he called out to Adam, "Where are you?" Genesis 3:9. Although God knew where they were, he was giving them a chance to admit their actions. Adam replied, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." Genesis 3:10. God then asked if they had eaten from the forbidden tree. Instead of taking responsibility, Adam blamed Eve, saying, "The woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." Genesis 3:12. Eve, in turn, blamed the serpent. Because of their disobedience, God pronounced consequences on each of them. The serpent was cursed to crawl on its belly and was condemned to constant enmity with humanity. For Eve, God said she would experience pain in childbirth and that her relationship with Adam would be marked by tension. Adam was told that the ground would be cursed because of him, and he would have to toil to produce food. Ultimately, they would return to the dust from which they were made, marking the beginning of human mortality. God, in his mercy, made garments of skin to clothe Adam and Eve, symbolizing his continued care for them even after they sinned. However, they could no longer remain in the Garden of Eden. God sent them out of the garden and placed cherubim with a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life, preventing them from eating of it and living forever in a fallen state. The story of Adam and Eve is not just about humanity's beginning, but about the introduction of sin and the consequences of disobedience. Through Adam and Eve's choices, sin entered the world, affecting every generation that followed. Yet, even in their failure, God's plan for redemption began, a plan that would be fulfilled through Jesus Christ, who came to restore what was lost in the Garden of Eden. If you enjoyed learning about Adam and Eve's story and want to explore more Bible stories, truths, and insights, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We dive into the wisdom of Scripture, exploring how these ancient stories continue to bring light, hope, and guidance to our lives today. So, click that subscribe button and join us on this journey through the Bible.